Okay, gang, literal equations is, you're not technically solving for a variable. What you're doing is you're isolating a variable. So let's, for instance, take this formula. Oh, sorry. Let me fix it. Let's take this formula. And right now, this formula is isolated for y. But I could ask you to isolate x. So notice it's not a solving. It's a reorganization of who is isolated. So if I want to solve for x, I'm going to need to move the b to the other side. Order doesn't matter how you write things. And then I have to divide off the m. So then x, let me write it here first. X equals to y minus b over m. A lot of you like to see it written the other way, so y minus b over m. Okay, and that's it. It's the rewriting of the equation to isolate a different variable, okay? So, does anybody know the area of a right triangle, the formula for that? Area would equal to 1/2 base times the height. So let's say we took this formula and I asked you to isolate B. Okay, right now you're isolating the area, but what if I asked you to isolate B, the base? You could do this in one step, but I'm just going to do it in 2 steps for people who don't like fractions. So the first thing we could do is multiply both sides by 2, and that gets rid of the 2 over here. And then the next step, I would divide off the h. Okay, but I'll put the b on the left side. So you're going to notice that, like, if somebody goes into engineering or you know, in some of the computer fields, you are manipulating. Definitely in the computer fields. I was thinking computer games for a minute, but computer fields, they definitely do a lot of this in programming. You have to, if you're looking for a certain thing, you put on your computer program, you put your parameters at the top, and then you put your equations in the middle, and your equations are usually formatted in a certain way. So computer programmers, engineers, they do a lot of this equation manipulation. Okay, I'll just do one more. This is actually one of my favorites to sort of put in a test somewhere or your final. All right, let's try this one. This case, let's isolate C. Okay, so we're isolating C. So the first thing is I've got fractions here, so I've got to get rid of the fractions. So I'm going to do the LCD, which is ABC. So I'm going to balance. So what I'm doing is I'm balancing because I got to bring the variables upstairs into the numerator. So I'm balancing so I can now cross out because it's an equal sign. Just make sure you only cross out when there's an equal sign. What happens when I teach this section is people just cross out every fraction bottom they have, and don't ever do that, right? It's just, you just can cross them out when you have an equal sign. If there's no equal sign, like in section 8.2, there's no equal sign, so don't cross any of those out. All right, so 2BC. I know there's so many nuances in math to catch on to. I just try to help you as we go. All right, now I'm looking for C, and if you notice, it's a little tricky, right? Because C is on both of them. So how do you do this? How do you isolate C if there's 2 of them? And it's going to be obvious once you see it, but you have to see it. Okay, hopefully somebody saw it. It's a common factor. It's a common factor. All right, don't hit your head against the table if you're like, but yeah, it's a common factor, and it's sort of obvious once somebody says it, but it's not always obvious before. Okay, so now I'm going to divide this off. So C is going to equal to 4AB over 2B plus 3A. And that's it, gang. We did it. That is the end of 8.4 and actually the end of chapter 8. We're going to move to chapter 9. Okay, hope you have a great day. I'll catch you. Bye.